Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Kiki, Life, Love, and all that other shit. I am your host, Kiki Chanel, award-winning author, lifestyle blogger, owner of 19 Lifestyle Magazine, and certified life coach. We are celebrating domestic violence awareness today, this month, the whole month of October, because the stories need to be told. We need to make sure that if we see something, we say something. And I have a very special guest with me today. I like to give my guest the opportunity to introduce herself. So I'm going to turn it over to her and she can tell you who she is and what she does. Hey, thank you for coming to kick it with me today.
So glad to kick it with you today. It has been a pleasure and an honor to be on your show, Kicking It with Kiki. I am I was a 24-year victim. I was a 10-year survivor, now a 7-year, almost 8-year overcomer of domestic violence. I am doing well. I have two daughters. One is 31 and one is about to be 17. Do the math. Not really a good math person, so I kind of messed up on that one. 14 years in between, one going to college and one going to kindergarten on the same day. I am also an author of many books, and I've written many books, not all published yet. But I have three books that I wrote this year. In January, I highlighted My Dance My Way Through Death, which was a near-death experience through grief, and I take you on a journey of that. In March, I wrote my child's book, Without Makeup. I have a lot of freckles on my face, so I wrote on self-love and self-awareness, and that's something that I still continue to work with because as a child, I was teased about my freckles and stuff. So I've been working with that and being able to show those. And I do on a daily basis because I don't wear makeup all the time anymore. And then my prized possession in May, was Forbidden Love, Domestic Violence Out Loud, which is a plethora of information for those who don't know anything about domestic violence and those who want to have it on their shelf to help someone else or share with someone else the information that's on the inside of them. I am also a coach, life coach. I am a confidence and certified confidence and empowerment coach. I am also a confidence coach. I am also a wedding officiant, as well as a director oh my God, executive director of education for several different platforms, being Mind First, Lotus Worldwide Consulting LLC, also with the National Serenity House Care Group here from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, also with Divine Pearls of Royalty, which is out of Texas, and also with an alliance that myself and the president came up with. Is called No More Silence Southern Region Alliance, and we go around to small cities and we share about domestic violence and help them through some things, because in small cities they have high rates of domestic violence because everybody knows everybody, and it can be swept under the rug or either just not done because we know that my husband or my significant other knows that person or this person. So that is a lot about me. Have some degrees in college, also 3 degrees, which my highest is a master's in psychology. So like I said, and I'm an interventionist for domestic violence. How could I forget that? So yeah,
Yeah.
I have a lot of things, making sure I have everything. I'm looking on my wall. Educator, speaker, host, MC, and forgot one more thing. I am a two-time war veteran serving in Iraq, in Desert Storm. I worked all around the world for Operation Enduring Freedom. I worked in Kuwait and Iraq.
Absolutely. That is a great resume. So thank you for sharing everything that you do. And it is an honor to have you here. We have been in the same spaces throughout the years. I've heard you speak and share your story, and we had the honor of being a part of the She Rose Awards a couple of weeks ago, and that was an amazing experience. You were the host and phenomenal as always. So I just want to get into the self-love and self-awareness for a minute, because I think that when we don't love ourselves or we're not self-aware, we can kind of open ourselves up to being loved by the people who don't mean to do anything but hurt us. So talk about the importance of having the self-love and being self-aware.
The importance of having self-love and self-aware is the fact that you will know what your body or what your mind or what your heart or what your soul really wants and needs, because you love yourself enough to know that something that's hurting you is not good for you. Someone that is misusing you is not good for you. And you're able to walk away because you know who you are and you are aware of the red flags that come with all of the unhealthy relationships, even with friendships.
Absolutely. And people don't really talk about that you can be in an abusive friendship.
Yes. I'm
Yes.
touching about on that right now. I'm starting to realize that yes, it's not just in relationships with a partner, but also with your friendships and with your family ships.
Absolutely. And it's okay, guys. If you're listening and you feel like you're being selfish for loving yourself, it is not selfish. You have to love yourself so that you can set the stage for how other people can love on you.
Yeah,
And love is not supposed to be toxic.
it's not.
It is not. And I hate that ride or die and all this toxic love that's going on, that's becoming the norm in society. Uh, what are your thoughts on that ride or die or that toxic love that we are hearing so much about, that's trying to make like it's okay, like it's cute, like it's just you know.
Well, my take on it is, if I can take a piece of my life and share it with you. I was in the military and I was married to someone who wasn't. And also he was very abusive, not only to myself, but to himself also. Ride or die, I was allowing him to, every time he fight me, he may go to jail, but he comes right back home. He go to jail, come right back home. Well, this particular time we were staying on Scott Air Force Base in Illinois, and he abused me, and they put him off the base permanently. He could not live there. And so he had to go to jail first. And once he got out of jail, he had to go to a homeless shelter and stay there. And I would bring food to him, ride or die, bring food to him at the shelter, feeling sorry for him, until I moved off base into another apartment so that he could come home and have somewhere to stay, and still abuse me. And I allowed that for the next 7, 8 years. So it is a cycle of abuse, but we must recognize the signs. And when we do get out, we can't just continue to go back. Although statistics say we'll go back 7 times. It's not good. It's not healthy. It gets worse. Every time you go back, it gets worse and worse, because you give that perpetrator the idea that it's okay to do it. She'll get mad or he'll get mad. They'll come right back. But, I did it. I own up to it. I tried to save my marriage every type of way I could, even down to losing everything just to keep him. So, if you want your life, you got to take it back, and you got to love yourself enough to know that when someone is not worth it and when someone does not serve you, you have to let it go.
You have to let it go. You have to let it go. Now, how did you first become aware that you were in an abusive relationship?
That's a good question, because it started at 14. So literally my mind was already there. It was just a cycle. Looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for daddy in all the wrong places, because most of the guys that I dated were much older than me at first. They were very abusive, very controlling, but very coercive. But may I add that I have never been in a healthy relationship until I got grown. I've not been in a healthy relationship grown either, but it wasn't physical abuse. It was just a lot of mental narcissistic stuff. But I was not ever in a healthy relationship. And so from 14 to 38 years old, I was in a cycle. I think I woke up when I almost lost my military career, and I had to regroup for my daughter. And coming out of my military career, finding out that I'm pregnant now for my husband, and I'm walking away.
Mm. Yeah. And I think that because we hadn't in the Black community, we don't really talk about the abusive relationships. It's kind of like swept under the rug. So we grow up not knowing that that's what abuse is until we get much older. And then we have to go back and say, you know what? That was abuse all along. I just didn't know what it was called because we didn't talk about it, you
And
know?
true.
Yeah. Why do you feel like we don't talk about it? Is it a prideful thing? Is it a what stays in the house type deal? Or
I,
why do you
it's
feel, yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you
I think it's a little bit of both, but a lot of what goes on in the house stays in the house. That is a cliche and something we've always heard, even into my era of it. Because I can look back and, my ex-husband would say that, and all the other relationships, failed relationships that I had due to domestic violence. It was what goes on in the house stays in the house. You talk too much, you tell your family this. Yeah, but I was unsafe, and I needed somebody to know. And at that time, and still to this day, as I advocate and do activism and educate, there is still not one voice, one sound in domestic violence. Everybody has their way of doing it, and until we get on that same page, we're going to continue the same cycles of domestic violence. We'll continue the same cycles in the law enforcement, in the court systems, and everything else, because it has to be that we're stepping in the same shoes everywhere we go. Yes, domestic violence is has these red flags. They should be da 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 da. Yeah, we have a national coalition for domestic violence also. So we should go by kind of where they are, because it is national, but a lot of people kind of teach it their own way. We have to get on the same page in order to fight this thing and fight it head on, because we don't know. And then when we are in the domestic violence cycle, how to get out. Because that's not an easy thing either, when people say just leave, and you can't. You can't just leave.
Yeah. And I think most people stay or don't share their stories because of that particular statement. Just leave.
Just leave.
And it's not always the case, because it's normal. You're afraid to leave because you don't have anywhere to go. You don't want to involve your family, because what he's doing to me, I don't want them to feel that, or he can threaten them to keep me there. I have other guests on the show who said that was one of the reasons why she stayed, because I told her, if you leave me, I'm gonna go and find your family, and I'm gonna hurt them to get back at you.
Exactly. And that's why I tell people, you don't know their story. You don't know why they stayed.
Yeah.
You don't know why they made the decision that they made. It could be to save your life. It could because they wanted to stay because they couldn't afford to leave. Or
Right.
of course, if they get in your mind, anybody that get in your mind, they got you all the way. And I was
Right.
14. So I mean, from someone who was way older than me, of course, and my mom working, she don't have time to really sit down and say this and this. Now, don't get me wrong, my mama have some nuggets that if I would have listened, I probably wouldn't have gone down that road. But she didn't know what I was going through, and I just was looking for that attention and that love. And not just that attention and that love, I have always been someone who didn't believe that Baton Rouge was where I was supposed to be. And I can honestly say that renewing of the mind had to take place, but I believe that dealing with drug dealers was going to get me out of the ghetto.
Mm, that's deep. That is deep. And it's all about that mentality and that mindset. And I think that when you want better, you do better. And then life begins to get better.
It does.
Yeah. So, what would you say to anyone who's listening who may have an idea that their family member is going through some type of abuse? Would be some of the early signs to pay attention to?
I would say isolation is our biggest thing. They isolate you from family and friends. And, that part right there is where the control begins because if they have your mind, they have everything. Be more attentive and be more empathetic because you don't know what they're going through inside of that home. You just know that they are going through something. Most times you cannot call the police for them, they have to do that themselves. But if you really feel that something is going wrong, do a welfare check over there and see if your child is okay. And sometimes if you know better, don't do that, I would say, because if it's really, really hostile over there, that could cause a problem with the welfare check. But I do say check on your loved ones. Tell them you love them. Don't ask them why they stay because that's not a question to ask because they don't know sometimes themselves, or if they do know, it's something that's to protect them and their kids or you also. Don't ask why they keep going back. It's a cycle until the renewing of the mind takes place. Most times they will go back until something happens. Next time they will go back. But we have to continue to pray for them. We have to continue to help them in any way that we can. So I just say, don't ask them why they stay. Don't ask them why they keep going back. Just ask them what you can do to help them. And if they say nothing but pray, then get on your knees and pray.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You give me chills because sometimes that's the only thing that you gonna be able to do is pray. You might see the bruises, you might see the manipulation, you may want to go in guns blazing, but you have to understand that it is not your experience.
Exactly.
And if you step in, sometimes you can make it worse.
Yes.
And it could be fatal.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know that you are an overcomer of domestic violence. What made you want to help other women get out of those situations, like becoming a life coach and starting your business, Lotus Worldwide? How did you know that that was a part of your purpose to help other women get out and overcome?
Set up. It was a set up. It was a setup for a divine appointment, baby, because I love education. Like I said, I have 3 degrees and I didn't get those and have a love for education until I retired from the military and I was 38 years old. When I got out the military, everybody was saying you have to have some type of college. I'm like, I am not college material. I barely made it out of high school. And so I went to college, got my associates of arts in business so I could do it, got hungry, got my bachelor's of science in communications. I love communications. I really wanted to go into forensics and just kind of write out all that kind of stuff and go to the scene and all of that. But my stomach just couldn't take the blood, so I went into, instead of forensic psychology, I just got a master's in the basic psychology, and I didn't go back to get like my all of my credentials to be like a psychologist, but I have my master's in psychology, which affords me the opportunity to counsel. And so how it was a setup is I really went to school for it, but I had no idea what I would do with it. But as God continued to grow me, as God continued to shape and mold me, as God continued to lay people out of my life and things got hard, the only thing I could remember doing that would give me hope was to go back to school. And so I started taking these certifications and started just doing little things and working on myself and my self-esteem and my self-love and my self-awareness, because I had issues with that. And even though I was going out speaking to people, I would come home and be so broken and I would be sick, literally sick, almost like throwing up and all this kind of stuff because I wasn't ready and I wasn't developed. And so God, it was a setup for me to be a lover of education, that when I go through things, instead of me giving up, I'll go to a book or I'll go to something that will pour into me, and I'll start getting that motivation all over again. And so this is the product of who I am. I love, love, love what I do. I love my purpose. I love the people I represent, the people that I'm going to meet. I always tell people I don't network. I don't work anymore. I worth. If I can't pour worth into you, then what am I for you? What am I? What purpose am I there for you? If I can pour something into you as well as wanting something back from you.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And I know you mentioned about the No More Silence Coalition. How did
Yes.
that start? Like, why, when did you and the group of ladies realize that it was bigger than where you are? Like it's a movement, so to speak, to go in and help other people overcome and give them the resources that they may not know that's there for them to get out of certain situations to become better.
I think first of all, I tried my best throughout the Baton Rouge and surrounding parishes from Ascension to East Feliciana, West Feliciana, Point Capee Parish, West Baton Rouge Parish, East Baton Rouge Parish, Livingston Parish, and anything that's around here. I sent out proposals to be able to educate in the school system and give these children some vital tools that they need to succeed, because they think that tapping, pushing and shoving, or he's telling you he don't like your hair or what you're wearing or your pants are too tight and all this kind of stuff, it leads, or bullying also leads to other things. But I haven't gotten any calls back with my proposals in question, or asking me anything about that. But then I met up with Umika Harmon, which is out of Houston, and she has the Divine Pearls of Royalty that I educate for, and also she had a No More Silence tour that me and her did some years back, and so this was a process in the making, because we started years ago and then we stopped with the No More Silence tour. But then God brought it back up this year, and she was talking and we were saying, we lost our vision because we were supposed to be going to small towns and educating these people and helping them get their own domestic violence organization set up so that they can have like a neighborhood watch, because small towns, everybody knows everybody, so things can go away. And just having a strong alliance and people knowing that you have somebody that will come to your small town and stand up for who you are. We started talking about that, and one day she just said, I would love for us to bring other organizations in, so when people are having something, we can all show up together and we can show them that that's the same love we want in return. When we have events and when we do it, we want to be able to be corporate, to where we're standing in solidarity all over the world, because of course I am Lotus Worldwide, and I intend to go worldwide with this movement. And so with that being said, she told me, and I'm kind of like the guru of putting stuff together. So one night God just prompted me to start working on the alliance, and he gave me the end of it. And I told her, I said, we can start the No More Silence Southern Region Alliance, and work with the Southern region first and then go north, south, east, and west afterwards. But just pull people together and pull our resources together, so when others need us, we can be there for them, whatever they need. And we've been doing that out of pocket. And may I put this punchline in, we are looking for sponsors and people who will help us through this journey, because we have been coming out of pocket with our own money, our own time, everything. And even if we have to get in the car, get gas money, hotel rooms, and we've stayed in some hotel rooms that back in the day when I had this arrogancy about me, I probably would never stay in, but God has afforded me the opportunity to grow, because he's taken away a lot of things from me, and he's shown me that they mean nothing without him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how can anyone that's listening become a sponsor?
They can get in contact with me personally, 225-453-2349, and I can send them a sponsorship. They can email me at Coach, COACH, Elissa, ELISSABEE at gmail.com. Or also we have another email is Southern Region Alliance at gmail.com, which is where what they would be helping toward. But my fight alone is, making sure that I reach people. So of course, if they sponsor me, it goes towards everything that I do for domestic violence, because I myself know that is the purpose that God's put me on this earth to do. And I love what I do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to ask this question, and it's a little personal. Were there any particular events or situations that you went through that was like a turning point during your journey dealing with that domestic violence?
The turning point came when my ex-husband walked out the door to go to the store and didn't come back for a week. When he came home, he beat me profusely because he said I had a man in the house. He said he saw him jumping out the window when he drove up. Now, first of all, if you left out the house to go to the store a week ago, I don't know where you are and when you're coming back. So why would I bring anyone into your home for that reason, for sure? But also because you are abusive. So why would I put myself in that position to be, I'm sorry, y'all, but it looks like my phone is trying to read. Why would I put myself in that position to be abused? But he really did really bad, and it was in the middle of the night, and my daughter heard it. He walked in the room, and my bed set really, really high. We had big poles. I promise you, the poles were about this big. Back in the 90s, I paid like over $10,000 for this bedroom set. And so I was in the military. And so it was a very hard bedroom set, and it had a footstool a foot thing at the bottom, and it had a cup. And it was like when he pulled me from the bed. He took my feet and he like wrapped them. He just pulled me from the bed while I was asleep, in the middle of my sleep.
Wow.
And started beating on me profusely. And my daughter heard it in the middle of the night, and all she was doing was banging on the door. I can remember this like it was yesterday. And she just got in some kind of way, I don't remember. And she got in the middle of us, which gave me a chance to kind of get away, because I had black eyes and I was just all busted up, and I'm trying to get away from him. And she just stood in front of him, and I can remember it just like it was yesterday. She said, "Don't you hit my mama one more time." And she said it just like that. I can never forget it as long as I live. And I'm like, I left my baby out there to a monster. And he was about to whip her because she was calling the police. And I came out, bust out. And I said, and this is what was the turning point, because my oldest daughter is not for him, but she didn't know that at the time. At 14 years old, she didn't know. We had shared that with her. He had taken her and changed her over to him, his name and everything else. So we never shared that, and we never decided to share it. But when he was about to whip her for calling the police, I just had to step in, and it blurted out, "You are not her father. I am her mom, and you will not put your hands on my child," in the bit of rage.
Yeah.
And she heard that. And I laid in the bed for a week trying to figure out how I could kill him and get away with it. And God woke me up one morning and said, "Get up and get out." And I started questioning him. But what I'm going to do about my house? This is my house. It's in my name. And what I'm going to do, he is in my truck, and that truck is in my name. And what I'm going to do about my baby? And she, da, 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 da. He said, "I want you to get one change in the clothes, and I need you to leave now." And I picked up and I left. And 6 months later, after he got out of jail, my oldest daughter, she did want to go see him, and me being naive, I'm thinking, okay, he ain't gonna bother me. I get there, and he makes me come in the house, and that's the day I got pregnant with my 17-year-old. And the turning point was she was not going to go through what I had already had guilt about putting through to my oldest daughter. So I made the conscious decision that if God feeds me, if he feeds the birds in the air and the fish in the sea, what more would he do for me and mine? And I never looked back after that.
Absolutely. I love that. And I'm so glad that you were obedient because you may not be here.
No, I wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
I would not.
In what ways have you grown or changed as a person since your experience? And I can feel the strength. I see the strength. Like being in your presence is just like it's like a gravitational pull. It makes me want to do more. Just being in your presence. I don't know if anybody has ever told you that, but that strength that you have, I know it came from God in your experience.
It did.
Yeah. So how have besides your faith, how have you grown or changed as a person since your experience?
I think wisdom. I think that I've been resilient long enough. I've bounced back long enough. That's okay, and it's good to have that bounce back spirit and that resilience, and come be able to keep turning over ground after you've it's dried out, and so I failed many times on business ventures, being homeless and everything else. But what keeps me going is my strength and my will and my determination to keep going after seeing my mama say, I trust God in her death. In her death, she told me, I trust God. And that has stuck with me, that if my mama can trust God in her death, then throughout this life until I get to where she is, I'm going to use wisdom, because wisdom tells me that even though I keep bouncing back, there is a time that he's going to allow me not to have to bounce back. He's going to give me everything that my heart desires if I just line up with him. And I won't have to keep bouncing back, but I can teach other resilient people how to have wisdom and say, okay, I've learned from this experience, so now let me move on from that, grow from that. And I've also learned that you are still growing until you lose both parents, especially if they're present in your life, because growth or grown doesn't happen until you have to be there by yourself in that field, trying to grow in that dry land all by yourself.
Mm, wow. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. And this has been an amazing interview. Like it's a conversation, because I don't feel like it's been an interview. It's just two people having a conversation. But is there any words of encouragement, any words of wisdom that you would like to share with the listeners today?
Dude, I would love to. I wrote this uh I guess just like this little motivational thing. And I wrote a shorter version. I have a long version. I have a short version. And I just would like to use the short version because the other one is a little bit long. And it's called You Gotta Show Up for Yourself. You gotta show up for yourself even when nobody else does. Show up because you matter, because your life has purpose. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it hurts, but pain is proof that something powerful is being born in you. Push through the breakdowns, push through the tears, push through the silence. Your purpose is waiting. People are waiting. God didn't put you here for nothing. So keep pressing, keep rising, keep showing up, because the world is waiting on what only you can deliver.
Amen. I love that. I love that. So before we close, tell the listeners how to connect with you, because I know you are, a life coach. You have a lot of things to offer someone who may be listening and need that. How can they connect with you to work with you possibly, or just talk to you about what they're going through? Because everybody needs somebody.
Of course, they can reach me at 225-453-2349. You can also reach me at Coach, COACH, Elissa, ELISSABBEE at gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Elissa BEE. You can find me on Instagram at Divatude 247. That's Diva with an attitude, just kind of put together. Divatude 247. You can find me anywhere on any plethora of social media at Lotus Worldwide Consulting. Also with Elissa Boudreaux, Boudreaux. I am on X. I am on, let me see all the things I'm on. I'm on IG. I'm on X. I'm on Threads. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me by my name or by Lotus Worldwide. We both are one and the same. I carry it everywhere I go. I share everywhere I go, and I love everywhere I go.
Absolutely. Well, it has been a pleasure with you kicking it with us today. Thank you for always, gracing your presence with sharing your story unapologetically. It is who you are, and it is the world needs more of that. So keep doing that. I wish you continued blessings.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate that.
yes, and I'm excited to have you here. So I cannot wait for you guys to see. She will be featured in the Black Excellence edition of 19 magazine that comes out in January. So stay tuned for that. Last question. What do you have coming up? What's next for Elissa?
Well, after today, we are going to Mississippi. They have their at Gulf in Gulfport. Um, they have their annual fashion show, and it's for Fashion Week, and they're featuring domestic violence and breast cancer. I'm also going to be in, let's see, I'm going to do some things here in Baton Rouge on November the 18th. I will be at an event. I don't know the name, forgive me for that. I have several this month. Of course, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so I have several events. I also offer coaching. Yes, I do. Self-development coaching, self-love coaching. I can help you with your business plans. I can help you do a lot of things. Just call me. I've written several books. If you want some advice and some direction on where to go with who can help you with your book and publish your book at a fast rate speed, I can give you some of that information. I would love to reach over here and get my books and share those with you right quick.
Okay.
So, of course, I gave everybody my information. This is my last book, which is Forbidden Love, Domestic Violence Out Loud. This is my prized possession, believe it or not. And it has a volume 2 coming out very shortly. And in the volume 2, the volume 1 is more basic. It tells you all about domestic violence, any questions you may have, talk about the bad boy image and all kind of stuff. This is the book. The second volume talks about everything that they talked about in the Diddy trial, all kinds of jargon, things that we didn't know about, things that I didn't know about, and titles to things that I went through that I didn't know really had a title to. So that book is coming out soon. So those 2 books are books that I think everybody needs in their home. My book in March was this child's book, and we talked about that, about self-love and self-awareness. This is the Freckle Fairy, A Magical Lesson in Loving Yourself. This is my 2 girls mixed together, and this is me. And we all have freckles in our face. So being self-aware and loving on every flaw that you have. If you don't have freckles, you may have a scar or something like that. And that might be the thorn that's in your side, reminding you that I don't want to do that anymore, or that was a bad experience. So don't ever think that being self-aware or having a scar or a flaw is a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing. It's what makes you unique. So this is a good book to have. These 3 books were the first books that I wrote this year and published by Books to Win with Angela Wynn. And I wrote these books by and inspired by Apostle Keith Richard, which is my apostle. And so I wrote this book, I Danced My Way Through Death, and it talks about me and my near-death experience and how grief from other deaths really took me down a downward spiral, and I had to fight for my life. And then it came with also the workbook and also the journal. So all these three together, you work with them together. And I did. I worked with one of my clients, and she worked the whole book. We did sessions after sessions, and she is now going viral. She has far exceeded what I thought in a year she would be. But my thing is, it took me 10 years as a survivor to even survive the things that I went through. So I don't want anybody else to have to go through 10 years of it. If you can come to me and I can help you and coach you through some of the worst times of your life and encourage you through some of them with a no judgmental zone, loving on you and teaching you tools that you can get to succeed in this society for today, I am here for you. We can work on payment plans. I am not a hard person to work with. And in fact, if you want to pay one at a time and you might skip a couple of weeks or something, but I'll still work with you and I'll still send you things to motivate you until you can come back on, because I want to see everybody that God has allotted to my hands win.
Absolutely. I love it. And where can they get the books from?
Well, I have some books personally on hand, but if they want them right now, they can go to Amazon and get any of my books. All they have to put in is Elissa Boudreaux. That's Elissa, Boudreaux, Boudreaux, and they all will pop up. And you can Google me. I am Googleable.
All right now. All right. So thank you for sharing. All of this information will be in the show notes, guys. So you don't have any excuse. Elissa, thank you again for coming to kick it with me. It has been a pleasure. Thank you guys for listening in to another episode of Kicking It with Kiki, Life, Love, and all that other shit. And we are back next Thursday with a new episode. Make sure you tune in on all streaming platforms. And this will also be available on my YouTube channel, Kicking It with Kiki Media. So until next time, purple hugs. Later.